This time of year, there's a lot of people grieving their loved ones who've passed on. I know I have trouble with knowing what to say. And you shared a story at your mother's funeral that was really profound to me, that I think would help a lot of people. And it would help me share that story to help comfort people. So, can you tell us
Sure.
what that story was?
Yeah, it's interesting because it didn't come from me. I wouldn't want anybody to think that something this profound ever came from me. It happened, as you may remember, my father passed away about 15 years ago, and we were very, very, very close all my life. I was grieving intensely the loss of him. And at the viewing, it was really an amazing thing because he took care of many families for 25, 30, 35, 40, even 50 years, and there was people crying and wailing everywhere, talking about how he was part of their family and stuff. But for the most part, it was like you expect. Like when I go to a funeral, people coming through, they don't really know what to say except I'm sorry for your loss, and I understand that because I feel the same thing. I'm just glad they're there. But at some point, there was a young man. He was actually my age at the time, and I recognized him as being from one of the families that my dad had taken care of a long time. When he got to me, I could tell he was really apprehensive and shy, uh, and he approached me really hesitantly, and he said, "Can I say something to you?" And it was really took me back, like he was asking permission, and I could tell he was anxious about what he was going to say. And I said, "Of course, you can say whatever, anything that's on your heart." And he said, "I know that you and your dad were really, really close. I mean, man, we've heard about you constantly as patients, from the
Mm-hmm.
time you played Little League football all the way up and all the things you did. And so, I mean, I know I can tell you're hurting really, really bad. Um, but I got to say, you really can't have it both ways." I said, what do you mean both ways? He said, "Well, what I mean is, you know, when my dad died, all I had was this hole where I knew there should be something, and there was nothing. In fact, the only thing I knew about what should be there was from what I knew about your dad's relationship with you." He said, "So I don't think it can be both ways. Those of us who are really rich are the only ones that get to suffer loss, and I'm jealous of you." And I remember it hit me like a percussion, and I could tell he was kind of waiting for me, like, how's he going to respond? Like he thought I was going to be upset. And I took a hold of him, and I hugged him, and I know I must have almost been weird because it's sinking into me the profoundness of what he's saying, because it's absolutely true, absolutely true. And it's not the way I was thinking of my feelings and how bad I was feeling. I wasn't thinking about this is because I'm so rich and I'm so lucky, and that there's people like this who would willfully, in a heartbeat, change places and feel what I'm feeling if they could
Yeah.
and can't. And I told him, I said, "No, no, I can already tell what you said has meant more to me than anything, maybe anything I've ever heard someone say ever in this kind of situation. And I know I'm still going to feel bad, and times I'm going to certainly hurt, but I can tell already this is going to change the way I feel about those feelings in a way that really is meaningful to me." And I thanked him, and it's something that I've shared with many people since, that we have to remember those of us who've been really, really close, we're lucky. And that's why I shared that story, as hard as it was to do at her funeral. And it's why I've shared it with many people who've been very, very close to their parents or spouse and other people and then lost them, because I think it is something that really can help people with how they're feeling.
Well, when you told it, it was profound for me. One, it gives me a different perspective on how to grieve. Um, but then also it helps me because I never know what to say. I feel like I say the same thing all the time. So I can talk about that story and maybe it'll bring comfort to someone else.
No, I mean, I agree. I think if you ask people, and I'm sure you've seen this and discussed it with other people, if there's a time that almost all of us would say we feel inadequate in what we say and
Mm-hmm.
do, it's when we're dealing with people that are, grieving and loss. And I think because of that, what this person shared has been so meaningful. I don't know that they understand how meaningful and how profound it was, but
Yeah.
it's something that anyone can share.
Is there anything else you've learned since losing both your parents?
Yeah, there are some more things I've learned that have affected the way I try to comfort people when they're suffering loss. As I was going along, coming out of it with my father, days, weeks, one of the things that completely unexpected to me was how many times that I would have a question or a thought, something I'd want to tell my dad or whatever, and immediately, the memory would come up that would where he's addressed similar things in the past, even questions where how he'd answered the same kind of question in the past when I was feeling down, and all of a sudden things he would say to encourage me or to put things in perspective. I'd see him in my head, and he'd be talking to me and saying those things, and I wasn't ready for that. I didn't realize he would have such an ongoing presence that in many ways I hadn't lost him.
Mm-hmm.
Already that's happening with my mom. I mean, I have ongoing conversations with my father because those of us who've been really, really close to someone, your brain is full of their ideas and teachings and all the things they did and said, even funny things. And so one of the things I tell people now to comfort them is that you really haven't. You won't understand this yet, but I promise you, you've not lost them the way you think you have. Physically, things have changed, but you're going to find that they have an ongoing presence in your life. They're still going to be there to counsel you, to comfort you, to build you up, uh, to say, I love you when you need to hear that. And I didn't understand that. And I think it's something that would have certainly comforted me if someone had said that at that time, because I didn't know that was going to happen. So I think that's another thing that we can share with people that can really help them when they're feeling this, because it seems like you're filled with this overwhelming fear and thought that keeps reverberating through your head. I'm never going to see them again. That I've lost them forever. The contact is gone. If I believe in an afterlife, that I'm going to be together still the rest of the days I walk this earth, I'm never going to experience another word from them
Or a hug.
or a hug or
Mm-hmm.
anything, and all the ways in which all of a sudden, you think you've all grown up and you realize how much you depended on them, and all of a sudden you're going to be without all that support. And it's overwhelming um, until you realize that that's not always true.
So it's just a different type of relationship with them.
Yeah, yeah, it really is. But it's one that's real and meaningful, and of tremendous value. And it's something I'd want every person to know who's lost someone they're really close to physically, who has passed, that they're still going to be with you.
And that'll bring comfort.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We were talking about, the comfort that comes from knowing, that they're going to be with you still, and that they still have a presence with you in your heart. That also affected my emotional, sad feelings that come up every time you think about them. In another way that was very positive, and that actually gave me peace. And I think you're going to be able to relate to this. When you think about dying,
Mm-hmm.
you think about your kids, what is your biggest concern?
That I'm not going to be there to comfort them. Or did I teach them everything I was supposed to teach them? What else can I tell them that will, once I'm gone, that will just, they'll hear my voice in their head.
Yeah. Yeah. And as I started going through this, it was dawning on me too, from this perspective. And, we have lots of people, and I'm already thought about this during COVID. I thought about this and made videos for my kids if something happened. And this impacted what I said to them, because I realized, it dawned on me that in point of fact, I'm anxious about not being there. I won't be there to say this again, to remind them of this. And then I'd hear my dad's voice over and over again and realize I will be there. And if you're thinking of something, I mean, those of us who are approaching death closer, we worry about how to still the fears and anxieties of our kids. It's something you can share to comfort them about losing you, and the fear of losing you is to reassure them that you won't lose me completely. I remember my dad telling me that straight up. He said, "Trust me, you won't be rid of me. I'll be there in your head over and over and over again." And he said, "Someday when your mom's gone, it'll be the same way." And he was right. It is the same way. So I think that's another great message that we can share with people, and that those of us, as we're approaching death and worried about our kids, something that'll help us to encourage them and comfort them is that, and we can say it with conviction. I know that now, experiencing what I have, you will be still with them. You will still be there to comfort them and to guide them, to remind them of things you taught them. Um, and that that has been something for me that, again, has given me great comfort.
So, what would you say to someone who they can't really relate? So they may not send flowers, they may not go to the funeral because, like, I haven't lost anybody. I can't relate to this. I don't know what to say because.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the answer comes back. I think our friend that shared the things that started this whole discussion has the answer to that. And that was the whole issue, is he couldn't relate. But him sharing with me why he couldn't relate and how how he viewed my suffering and how he suggested I should view it, we're saying is one of the most impactful things we've ever heard. So for those who say, I wasn't that close, and there's lots of people that I work with and that I'm close to, some of them have had one parent where this is true and one that's not.
Yeah.
But if you can't relate because you didn't have that kind of relationship, what I would tell people is that, this person showed you what to say. Share that with people. Share with them why you can't relate, why you're jealous of their loss and their feelings of grief. Help them understand that they really are rich when they're feeling very poor, and you'll have done a great thing. I've heard that a lot, and I understand it. But the truth is, it still makes me wonder why he thought, how he came to understand that would be meaningful. Because again, most people in his situation think, what have I got to say? I can't even relate to how you're feeling. And sharing that made a profound difference for me.
And he had the courage to say it.
Yeah.
Thank goodness he did.
Yeah, that's right.
Because he doesn't even know the impact.
No, I mean,
and that's why we're doing this video. So
yeah, I've had other people say they've shared it at funerals. They've shared it, since they'd heard me share that, and I don't think this person has any idea the impact they've had on other people.
Yeah.
So and that should remind us that we can have impacts that are far beyond what we think at times, just by caring enough to say something to try to help somebody like that. So all of us have something we can share.
I agree. So we've been talking about things to say when someone's lost a loved one. Are there other ways or other things we can say to help?
Yeah, there's a couple things, and we'll talk about one of them now. We talk about being present, and that's important. And I think that's why we do things like, send cards or send, flowers, why we come and stand in line, in the viewing line, and be there during the funeral. And yet, I think for most of us, that feels just grossly inadequate for really being a help to this person when they're suffering such this tidal wave of feeling. But I would say that, those who say that, listening is important and coming, I would agree with that. But it's much more meaningful when you look at the perspective from where you're listening. Is it in a safe place where, I am separated from their suffering, or is it with them? And what I mean is that when people are feeling loss, uh, they feel already separation from the person they've lost, but they're experiencing something that's so different and strange, they feel alone in it. And we have a choice we can make. And I remember this came to me again so clearly at my mother's recent funeral. We were in the reviewing line again, and people were coming through. And for most people, it was very, we're sorry for your loss. We're here, and your mom was a great person, and all of which I appreciated. Because we know when people step into this kind of situation, they're already risking feelings coming up about loss that they've had and death. So we appreciate that. But then someone came up who's a close person to me, and a patient that I see, and he took me by the hand and he looked me in the eyes. And I knew he had been very close to his father who he lost, and I could feel the emotion in him.
Mm-hmm.
It was obvious he had chosen to allow himself to come into my space and join me there. And all of a sudden, it was like we're the only two people really here. Everybody else, we're surrounded by people, but everybody else is out there somewhere. And it made the things he was saying and conveying so different. And it made me feel special. It made me feel supported. It made me feel understood. Because often you're going through this tidal wave of feeling, you think, can anybody relate to this? I knew he could relate.
Because he was relating emotionally.
He was doing it right now.
Yeah.
He was choosing to do that. So there's a cost, obviously, with that, and I think that this isn't rocket science. That may be why we don't do it. And yet I know, and I think you can share this. I mean, how do you feel after you do that with someone? Does it tear you down like people are afraid of, if they allow themselves to feel pain this much? What is it like for you? Because I know you do that with people.
Well, I think I can easily tap into my emotions. I cry at the drop of a hat anyway. So, but it's easy for me to put myself in someone else's shoes. I don't think everybody's like that. I think a lot of people struggle um, showing their emotion. They might feel like it's just going to make that other person feel worse.
Mm-hmm.
When actually, I think, like you said, it's a deeper connection. And I think people just want to talk about their loved ones. I think they'd rather talk about their loved ones than just hear the same old thing that everybody says.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I do think it's on a deeper level if you can kind of step into their shoes and step into that emotion with them.
And that makes you feel like it's been more meaningful, right?
Yeah, I walk away feeling better.
Yeah.
Not feeling inadequate that I just said the same old thing.
And I like what you said earlier is that it doesn't come as easy for some of us, and mainly that's because some of us were raised in ways that we started practicing this early. But it's not that inherently some people can't, as you know, and a lot of times people are afraid of the experience, and it's like anything we fear. What we can assure people of is if you do it and you go through it, I mean, by definition, you're going to feel pain, but the overall feeling you come away with is something that actually lifts you up and makes you feel stronger and better because you know that you've made a choice that has really been meaningful to this person. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's, to me, the second thing that's most important is that, we can choose to be present, and I mean present intimately with them in their suffering. And if you've been on the other end of that, you know what I'm saying. It does help. It is meaningful.
I'm glad we did these videos, and this is why we started this whole conversation, was to help other people, because I know it's going to help me not feel as inadequate about what to say when I go to a funeral. But it gives me a different perspective on grief, and
Mm-hmm.
then also how to comfort my kids.
Yes.